Massive U.S. aircraft carrier sails into Oslo for NATO exercises.
Here's a summary of the article.
Oslo, May 24. The world's largest aircraft carrier, the USS Gerald R. Ford, sailed into Oslo on Wednesday, a first for such a U.S. ship, in a show of NATO force at a time of heightened tension between NATO and Russia over the war in Ukraine. The ship and its crew will be conducting training exercises with the Norwegian armed forces along the country's coast in the coming days, the Norwegian military said. At one spot on the Oslo fjord, dozens of people of all ages gathered on the shore to observe the vessel as it cruised by, taking pictures and videos. Norwegian media reported the aircraft carrier would sail north of the Arctic Circle. The Russian embassy in Oslo condemned the aircraft carrier's Oslo visit. NATO member Norway shares a border with Russia in the Arctic and last year became Europe's largest gas supplier after a drop in Russian gas flows. The Norwegian military and NATO allies have been patrolling around offshore oil and gas platforms since the autumn, following explosions on the Nord Stream pipelines in the Baltic Sea.
This post received a score of 7,300, with an upvote ratio of 97%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
I really like the framing with the cute idyllic homes flanked by the aircraft carrier in the background.
Crazy. It's like a skyscraper floating into a tiny village.
And there's a large town's worth of people on it. That ship has a complement of somewhere around 5,000 personnel on it.
How many of the 5,000 are rowing the boat?
Classified information. The rowing team is code-named nuclear reactor. Though,
technically speaking, this aircraft carrier has 2 nuclear reactors on board.
What? It didn't need a fleet of tugs to drag it in. You taking notes, Russia?
It also isn't currently residing on the bottom of the Black Sea, unlike the Russian flagship.
So what you're saying is the pathetic and primitive American aircraft carrier can't even turn itself into a submarine and submerge itself for years at a time.
Clearly the clever Russians outmaneuvered every Western ship by moving in a direction no one else even dared consider.
Would have been more impressive if the ship went straight up and landed directly on other ships. Submarines have been around forever.
Nice. Saw this while driving today. Then go ahead and leave Norway. You won't be missed.
Brew, that's like North Korea complaining about NATO warships sailing near their embassy in London. LMAO.
Now I'm imagining the USS Gerald R. Ford sailing up the Thames.
We almost sent a Nimitz-class during the Trafalgar celebration. But we didn't want to show up the Brits. So we sent a Wasp-class. Totally not a carrier instead. That led to the largest ship in the procession being French. Which led to complaints that the US didn't send a larger carrier.
Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
That's the story of anything the US does in Europe.
Oslo, May 24. The world's largest aircraft carrier, the USS Gerald R. Ford, sailed into Oslo on Wednesday, a first for such a US ship, in a show of NATO force at a time of heightened tension between NATO and Russia over the war in Ukraine. Norwegian media reported the aircraft carrier would sail north of the Arctic Circle. The Russian embassy in Oslo condemned the aircraft carrier's Oslo visit. The Norwegian military and NATO allies have been patrolling around offshore oil and gas platforms since the autumn, following explosions on the Nord Stream pipelines in the Baltic Sea.
The Ford in the fjord. You loved? Ford in the fjord. Now get ready for Nimitz at the 12-mile limit, Roosevelt in the Little Belt.
do we have anything that rhymes with the 9- line?
CVN 69. Nice.
U.S. carrier sails to Oslo. Norwegian coastal battery commander, either I will be decorated, or I will be court-martialed.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.